All right, so let's start with some breaking news that's just come in, whereas Russia continues with its offensive in Ukraine. The reports now suggest that the Putin-Trump meeting could take place as early as the 11th of August. Now, according to Fox News, a summit between the Russian President Vladimir Putin and the American President Donald Trump could happen as soon as next week, that is in 3 days from now. Now, two sources familiar with the negotiations have told Fox News that Rome is one of the possible destinations that is being discussed as the venue for the summit meeting. The two sides had earlier spoken of Dubai as a possible venue. So as the US deadline for Moscow to show progress towards ending the war in Ukraine nears, Russia has carried out some fresh attacks in Ukraine's Sumy and Kharkiv regions late on Thursday night. Now, at least about 3 people were injured in 2 Ukrainian cities after the Russian drone attacks. And the State Emergency Service of Ukraine has said that it had managed to contain a fire that broke out at a 4-story building in Kharkiv. In Sumy, strikes in residential buildings left 1 person injured.
When attack happened, we couldn't find them for a whole day. We thought maybe they had gone down to the basement. Maybe they were still alive. It was like a buffer zone. You don't know what to do. And I realized that the hardest thing is just waiting, this uncertainty.
Now, Ukrainian soldiers say that Russia continues its offensive on eastern front line despite the ceasefire deadline by President Donald Trump.
The minimum result is at least a cessation of active hostilities. This will be the first sign of dialogue and negotiations. This is not happening at the moment, and all the talk about it is only intensifying with attacks. Perhaps they understand that they have little time left and are trying to capture even more in order to speak from a position of greater strength at the negotiations.
Russia's latest assault came hours after President Trump said that he would meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin even if the Russian leader refuses to meet with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Urging Trump to deliver on the threat of more sanctions, Finland's foreign minister has called for more economic pressure on Russia.
Well, I certainly hope that President Trump will move forward with those sanctions. What we do see and suspect now as well is that the reason that Russia has again shown some willingness to talks is that the increased arms deliveries by the US or from the US, also partly paid by European countries to Ukraine, are definitely piling up to the pressure on Russia to find a way out of the war.
The months of US-led efforts have yielded no progress in halting the Russia-Ukraine war, and according to the United Nations, the war has killed tens of thousands of troops on both sides and more than 12,000 Ukrainian civilians.
We are seeing that the Russian offensive campaign is ongoing, and the Ukrainian soldiers are saying that despite the diplomatic efforts that can be seen from the US side and the US President Donald Trump, there are no signs that the war is stopping here, and the explosions and the blasts, they are ongoing and they are happening all the time. However, the soldiers are saying that despite the failed attempts so far to establish the temporary ceasefire, they are here and they are going to continue to fight.